and let me say good afternoon to your listeners. I think the background is last year, Parliament passed the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020 Act 1019, and it was assented to by His Excellency the President in May last year. And in there, when you read portions or sections of the law, section 36 upwards, it talks about the fact that any businesses relating to cannabis, whether it's the use, whether cultivation, whether trafficking, it's all against the law. It's stated in there. But when you look at the section 43, there was a special provision made for the cultivation of cannabis. And it states that the minister, in consultation with the commission, may grant license to someone or people to cultivate weed cannabis with less than or not more than 0.3% of THC. So that is what the law says. So if anybody should go out there and decide that they are going to plant any weed for recreational purposes, it's against the law. In any case, when you look at the section 43.2, it talks about the fact that for avoidance of doubt, when we talk about cannabis, we are not referring to the recreational one, but we are referring to the one with less than 0.3% on dry weight basis. And what we are doing, or what the law states, is that once the act or the law was passed, there was a need for the commission to put before Parliament legislative instruments that will stipulate in details what people who would want to cultivate that will need to do before they can get a license. So it's not going to be a wholesale thing. You have to go through a process. Once the LI is done, or once the LI is passed, you go through a process in order to secure that license that will legally permit you to cultivate the 0.3% THC cannabis.
Very well said. But do we have strong regime or mechanisms to monitor and control the operation without it getting out of hand?
That is exactly what the commission is doing in putting the LI together. It's going to make sure that all these monitoring mechanisms that you're referring to are catered for in the legislative instrument. And what we also need to know is that once that is put before Parliament, Parliament is going to scrutinize it to make sure that whatever is in there, it's something that can work. It's something that can make sure that that sector, if you want to call it, is properly regulated and is properly monitored so that people cannot just secure the license and do whatever they want to do. So it will be catered for. That year will be catered for once the LI is put before Parliament and Parliament scrutinizes it and is passed.
Very well. What are some of the benefits these companies stand to enjoy once they get their licenses?
Yeah, it's a new area that the country we're going to be exploring. People talk about the fact that it can bring in huge revenue for the government. We don't know yet. So it's an area we're going. And we know that once it's properly regulated, if those things or if those benefits are there, then we can get it. Because this thing that we're talking about, this cannabis that we're referring to, we are saying that the purpose for getting a license for it is for industrial use and medicinal purposes. So if it is industrial and medicinal, then obviously we'll stand to gain in those years that we're going to give license to people to cultivate that.
Very well said. Do we have any time frame when this is to be official?
Do we have any
time frame
We are actively and seriously working on it. So we're not putting any time frame, but we know that very soon we'll put it before Parliament for Parliament to go through it. Then once it is approved, modalities will be out as to how someone can qualify or how someone can apply for the license.
Thank you very much for spending time with us this afternoon. We are very grateful. I have been speaking with the public relations